It ended. Not slowly, not with a long conversation, not with weeks of trying. It just ended. One day you were in it. The next day you were out. No closure, no final talk, no chance to fight for it. Just done. And you've been sitting in the wreckage asking, why did God let it end so suddenly? Why didn't I get to say what I needed to say? Why couldn't we at least have one more conversation? The shock of sudden endings. Sudden endings don't feel like relief. They feel like violence. One moment you're building something, planning, hoping, investing. The next moment, it's gone. Ripped away with no warning, no gradual decline, no mutual agreement. Just done. And the shock makes you question everything. Did I give up too easily? Should I have fought harder? What if I had just said the right thing? When something ends slowly, you see it coming. You prepare. But when it ends suddenly, you're left holding questions with no answers. Why now? Why so fast? Why couldn't we at least have closure? And in that confusion, a dangerous thought creeps in. Maybe if I just reach out one more time, maybe we can talk. Maybe there's still a chance. But here's what you need to understand. The abruptness wasn't cruelty. It was rescue. God removed it suddenly because gradual would have given you time to go back. Why didn't God give me closure? You've been asking, why couldn't it end gently? Why couldn't we have one final conversation? Why couldn't there be closure? Here's the answer you're not ready to hear, but desperately need to. Because closure would have become another chance. One more conversation would have turned into one more week. One more week into one more month. One more month into one more year. Because you don't just want closure, you want Him. You want it to work. You want the relationship, not just the ending explained. God knew that. So He didn't give you closure, He gave you a clean break. Look at Genesis 19. When God was destroying Sodom and Gomorrah, He sent angels to remove Lot and his family. But Genesis 19:16 says, when he hesitated, the men grasped his hand and the hands of his wife and of his 2 daughters and led them safely out of the city. For the Lord was merciful to them. They hesitated. They didn't want to leave. So God didn't ask. He grabbed them and pulled them out. Why? Because if He'd given them time to think about it or say goodbye, they would have stayed, and staying would have killed them. The abruptness wasn't cruelty. It was mercy. But then Lot's wife looked back. Genesis 19:26 says she became a pillar of salt, because looking back at what God was destroying would have destroyed her. That's why God ended it suddenly. Because He knew if you had time to look back, you'd go back. And going back would kill what He's trying to build in you. Today, I'm giving you 4 reasons God let it end suddenly. And by the end, you'll stop asking for closure and start thanking God for the rescue. 1. You would have talked yourself back into it. If it had ended slowly, if there'd been one more conversation or let's take a break and see, you would have hoped your way back into it. Your hope would have overridden your discernment. Your longing would have silenced the red flags you'd been ignoring for months. Imagine God had let it end gradually. You would have said, I just need to understand why. What did I do wrong? And He would have said, it's not you. I just need space. I'm going through a lot right now. And internally, you would have thought, so there's still a chance? Maybe if I'm just more patient. more understanding. And just like that, closure becomes hope. Hope becomes waiting. Waiting becomes another 6 months of breadcrumbs, and maybe God was protecting you from your own hope. Because your hope, as beautiful as it is, was going to keep you attached to something He was trying to remove. Think of it like an emergency evacuation. When a building is on fire, firefighters don't give you time to process. They grab you and pull you out, even if you're fighting them, because they can see the flames, you can't. God grabbed you out of that relationship because He could see. If He gave you time to think about it, you'd stay. And staying would have destroyed you. Exodus 14:14 says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." You didn't end it. God did. And He didn't ask your permission because He knew your feelings would override His protection. 2. Closure would have become another chance. You don't want closure. You want another opportunity. You want to say the right thing that changes His mind. You want to prove you're worth staying for. But what broke wasn't fixable with a conversation. It was broken at the foundation. If God had given you that final talk, you would have asked to try again, and He might have said yes. And just like that, you're back. Back in the confusion, back in the cycle, back in the relationship that was draining you, diminishing you, making you smaller. 3 months later, you'd be right back where you were. Same issues, same patterns, same red flags. But now you're more attached, more invested, and leaving is harder. God was protecting you from one more chance turning into one more year of the same cycle. He could see what you couldn't. That relationship wasn't going to change. The issues weren't communication problems. They were character problems, alignment problems, foundation problems. God told Lot's family in Genesis 19:17, "Flee for your lives. Don't look back, and don't stop anywhere in the plain." Why such urgency? Because looking back would have pulled them back, and going back would have killed them. The sudden ending saved you from one more chance, becoming one more year of wasting your time, your tears, and your calling on someone who wasn't aligned with where God is taking you. 3. A slow fade would have kept you attached. If it had ended slowly, if he'd needed space or wanted to take a break, or wasn't sure, you'd have spent months in limbo, not fully in, not fully out, just waiting, hoping, analyzing every interaction for signs he was coming back. You'd have gotten sporadic texts with no clarity, no commitment, just enough attention to keep you waiting. And you'd have stayed in constant analysis mode, dissecting every word, agonizing over every silence. Months would pass, and you'd realize you're not moving forward, not healing, just stuck. And that limbo would have kept you unavailable for what God has next. God was protecting you from relational purgatory, where you're not free to heal and not free to move on because you're still holding on to maybe. He gave you a clean break because he knew if the ending was ambiguous, you'd wait. And waiting would steal the time he's given you to build what's next. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" God is doing a new thing. But you can't build the new if you're still clinging to the old. The sudden ending forced you to let go. And letting go, even though it's painful, is the only way to receive what's next. 4. God saw what was coming that you couldn't. You can only see where you are. God can see where you're headed. And He could see. If you stayed in that relationship, the pain you were experiencing wasn't the peak. It was just the beginning. God could see the pattern was going to get worse, not better. The longer you stayed, the more attached you'd become, and the harder it would be to leave later. What you were tolerating now was going to escalate. The calling He has for you was going to be aborted if you stayed. If you'd stayed 6 more months, you'd have ignored more red flags, made more excuses, compromised more of yourself. And when it still ended because it was always going to end, you'd be more broken, more wounded, more cynical. If you'd stayed 2 years, you'd look back and think, I knew in the beginning this wasn't right. I saw the signs. Why didn't I leave when God gave me the chance? God was protecting you from future pain you can't see yet. He removed it now, suddenly, forcefully, because waiting would have made the ending more painful, not less. God didn't just remove Lot's family from Sodom. He warned them, don't look back. Why? Because what was behind them was being destroyed. And looking back, longing for it, romanticizing it, would destroy them too. God isn't just removing you from what was. He's protecting you from what would have been. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Your understanding says, it ended too soon. God's understanding says, I ended it right on time. Any longer, and it would have cost you more than you can see. What to do now? Now that you understand why it ended suddenly, here's what to do. But first, let me be clear about something. If that relationship involved abuse, emotional, physical, spiritual, that was not God's will. God didn't design that pain to teach you. Abuse is sin. It's never part of God's curriculum. What God can do is redeem the ending. He can use the sudden removal as rescue from danger. But the abuse itself, that wasn't divine planning. That was human brokenness, and you didn't deserve it. If you're carrying guilt, thinking, maybe I should have stayed and prayed harder, hear me clearly. No, God didn't call you to be a punching bag. He called you to be loved, protected, honored. The sudden ending may have been God's mercy pulling you out, but what you endured, you didn't need to suffer that to learn. That was wrong. Now, here's what to do. Stop asking for closure. Thank God for the rescue. You don't need every detail explained. You need to trust that God saw what you couldn't, and He removed it to protect you, not punish you. Don't look back. Don't reach out. Don't romanticize what ended. Genesis 19:17 says, don't look back. Every time you're tempted to reach out for closure, remember, looking back at what God is destroying will destroy you. Don't text. Don't call. Don't check their social media. Grieve the loss, but don't rebuild what God demolished. It's okay to feel the pain, but don't let grief turn into rebuilding. God demolished that relationship for a reason. Don't rebuild what He tore down. Receive what's next with open hands. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, the old has gone, the new is here. God didn't remove something just to leave you empty. He removed it to make room for what's next. But you can't receive the new if you're still clinging to the old. And if you're struggling to recognize whether what ended was protecting you from a counterfeit relationship, download the free counterfeit test in the description. It helps you see the red flags grief might be clouding, so you understand what God removed and why going back would cost more than moving forward. The truth you need to hold. The abruptness wasn't cruelty. It was rescue. God grabbed you and pulled you out, even though you were fighting Him, even though you wanted to stay, because He loved you too much to let you remain in what was destroying you. Don't look back. What's behind you is being destroyed, and looking back will destroy you. Let this be your declaration. I will stop asking for closure and start thanking God for the rescue. I will not look back at what God removed. I will receive what He's bringing next. Say it until your heart believes it, because the sudden ending that felt like violence was actually mercy. The door that slammed shut was God protecting the door He's about to open. And what's coming next won't require rescue. It will be something you walk into with peace, not something you're dragged out of in tears. Trust the rescue, release what ended, receive what's next. And God isn't just removing what was wrong. He's preparing you for something healthy, something that won't require emergency rescue. In the next video, I show you the 5 signs God is aligning you with real love that brings peace, not confusion. Watch this. God bless you.